Hello, my name is Anis. I go by the tag Free Palestine and I am a Palestinian American. I wanted to share some quick stories on how both my mother and father's side of the family were dispossessed and brutalized by the occupation of Palestine in different ways. Both sides of my family are from a small farming village called Arrabe in the northern West Bank. After the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in 1948, the countrysides were filled with now homeless families who lost their land and means to survive. In Arabic, the few years following were known as Sanat al-Ajwa, or Year of the Date, since there was not even enough bread to go around. This, of course, greatly reduced the job opportunities for all Palestinians, and my maternal grandfather in the early 50s went to Kuwait to find work. He did not know it at the time, but going to Kuwait at this time meant that he would never be allowed to visit his home in Palestine again. The dispossession of Palestinians does not stop there, however. Kuwait did not offer citizenship to children born in Kuwait to foreign parents, so my mother and her six siblings, although all being Palestinian and born in Kuwait, were given Jordanian citizenship. This shows how even when Palestinians leave home, they are no longer Palestinians, but also not given permanent residencies anywhere else, forever left to be stateless and without a chance to return home. This is the story of so many Palestinians who were displaced. My mother's family actually got lucky in that they left Kuwait 2 weeks before Saddam's invasion by happenstance. They also got lucky in that they lived in Kuwait and not like the many hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who for generations have lived in refugee camps in Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. These people are stateless and not given any support by the country they resided, while also being prevented by Israel from ever returning to the homes of their fathers and grandfathers. In terms of my father's side of the story, my father and grandfather were farmers from the same town. They stayed in Palestine through all the strife and worked hard to improve their standard and quality of living. Although they were in the West Bank, this did not stop occupying forces from making their lives as difficult as possible. The first time my father was arrested was when he was around 14 years old in early high school. The occupying forces walked into his home at around 2 a.m. and harassed and arrested many of the people in his family. This might seem strange to Americans, but it is common for the IDF to detain Palestinians and never charge them with a crime. This is an indefinite detention, and some are kept in prison for years and never given a charge, so they have no case to argue against. My father was also jailed a few years later for protesting the occupation and war on Lebanon in his college in Nablus in the West Bank. This time, however, he faced brutal, um, horrible brutality in the prisons, packed into tight cells and being forced to sleep on concrete stairs and burnt with cigarettes. All due to peacefully protesting the occupation in the West Bank, which is supposedly Palestinian run. If you ask any Palestinian, you will find similar and oftentimes much worse atrocities committed on them by the occupying forces. These types of pressures have existed for over 70 years and multiple generations. The dispossession and brutalization of Palestinians is synonymous with being Palestinian. Those in Gaza right now have it the worst of all. Please keep those there in your thoughts and prayers, and please do not turn away from seeing how brutal this occupation really is. Thank you for lending me your ear, and thank you for supporting this event. It means a lot to me.